Welcome to part 2 of Let's Talk About Autism, where a mother shares her story.
Hello kids, Miss channel, his viewers and subscribers. Today we're here to talk about autism. I am here to talk about my personal experience with my son as a first-time mom raising an autistic child, how he was diagnosed, the signs and symptoms, how we realized that he was autistic, the help we got, and also to encourage anyone listening struggling with their child and doesn't understand their behavior. We're here to encourage you that you're not alone, give you some tips and advice of how to get help, where to seek help if you're in a third world country or if you're in a country where autism awareness is not a big thing there. I'm here to give you some advice on websites you can educate yourself on. So first of all, what is autism? Basic understanding and explanation of autism is a developmental disability caused by differences in the brain. Personally, I don't see autism as a disability. I call them special needs children. Why do I call them special needs children? Because their needs are different from how what we call normal children needs are. Their brains process things differently. Therefore, they need a little bit more support to understand the normal world that we live in. Autistic people, I'll mainly speak about children because my experiences with my child. Autistic children have different needs. Loads of different things makes them autistics. Some children may have ADHD. Bear in mind, ADHD is different from autism. Some children may have ADHD and not have autism. Some children will have autism and not have ADHD. But ADHD and autism really work in hand together. Like they kind of easily come together. What are the signs that my son showed for him to be diagnosed as autistic kid? Well, to be honest, I was a young mom when I had him. I had him at the age of 23. I didn't know anything about autism. So I got most of help. The first pick signs was from the nursery. They helped me a lot because they were more experienced with different children. How did they get to know that he might need more help? At that point, we didn't know that he was autistic. All they knew is he was a bit different. What were the things that he was doing? He wasn't communicating as a 2-year-old at that point. He was like 2-year-old, 2.5. He was saying very few words. His focus and attention was very limited. He couldn't stay still for 10 seconds. Focus for anything for 10 seconds or anything that he was doing. He was very easily distracted. Noises were a very big problem of him. Some sharp sound noises. He would cover his ears. At times when I speak to him, I felt like he wasn't listening. Not that he wasn't listening. From what I have learned, his brains were just not processing anything that I was saying. So the nursery picked up little signs. They spoke to me about it and said, we think your son might need a little bit more help. It started mainly with the communication, to be fair. And we were like, okay. I was like, okay, what kind of help can he get? So they recommended him to a speech and language therapist. The speech and language therapist, after speaking to him and assessing him, realized he needed more help in focusing on his sessions. So then the help was extended to an autism specialist. And that's how the whole procedure started. And it took us about 1.5 years. And we realized that he was autistic. So by the time he was 3 years old, he was officially diagnosed as autistic child who needs more help to understand the social life. How did we help him throughout his life from when he was 3 years old? So now he's 9 years old. Believe me, it wasn't easy, but I assure you, it was all worth it. He's a very special kid. He started actually talking properly, not even fully properly, like communicating a little bit from, I would say, when he was 6, 7 years old. That's when he started communicating properly. So don't be alarmed if you have a child who is not talking at the age of 3, 4, 5. I know it can be very worrying. You be talking and you think your child doesn't understand what you're saying or is not listening to you. Back home, we'll say this child is very stubborn, doesn't listen. Not that the child is stubborn and doesn't listen. The child is struggling to understand you are saying. So with these kind of things, you need to be very patient. That's the first thing. Patience is the number one. We started focusing on his communication. How did we help him with his communication? We had what do we call it? PECs. There are different ways of communicating with autistic children. There is Makaton, there is sign language. I didn't know how to do sign language, so my easiest focus was PECs, which is the picture exchange communication system. So that's whereby you draw simple things on pictures, or you take pictures of general things in the house and use that to give him simple instructions. So for example, we have like his routines were very straightforward and simple. At the beginning, that's when he was like 3 years old, is what I'm talking about. His routines were very simple and straightforward so that he can keep up with his routines. I.e., when he wakes up in the morning, we show him what we're going to do today. That we use the now and next board a lot. So we'd say, now we're gonna brush our teeth. So we have a picture of someone brushing the teeth, a child brushing the teeth. It's best if you take pictures of their item. It makes it more easier. So we had pictures of very familiar things in the house. So brushing your teeth. After brushing your teeth, what do we do next? Take a bath, dress up, to nursery. After nursery, then the nursery continues from there. They use the picture communication system to communicate with him a lot. So we had to keep that routine. If I'm doing something at home, the nursery had to do the same thing so that it becomes a routine. Autistic people, a routine are very, very important. By my consistency is very important for autistic children. You can't be changing their routines all the time. It takes time. As he grew old, so from when he was like 7 years old, 8 years old, I made him understand that there are changes. Then he was communicating, so we were able to talk about changes so that he can accept that in the world we live, changes happen. So I gradually for him how to accept changes. For example, if we're doing something today and he thinks we're going to be repeating the same thing tomorrow, and I know I'm not going to be repeating the same thing tomorrow, I prompt him earlier on. I make him understand that tomorrow we're not going to be doing what we did yesterday. We're going to be doing something different. So he understands that this is the new change that is coming. So I prep him on time to accept the new changes that is coming in future, i.e. tomorrow. If he doesn't understand, he would tell me, Mom, I don't understand why. And then I can explain further until he understands. Gradually, he's accepted it. So now he's able to adapt to changes. It's not always easy because autism doesn't vanish. No, it doesn't go, but he tries his best. I always tell him to give it a go. Try your best to do something. Now that he's 9 years old, he's willing to give it a go at anything. He's willing to make changes. That's if you explain to him the benefits. If you make him understand that what he's doing is not harmful or he doesn't need to be scared. So yeah, it took a while before we got there, but he's able to adapt to changes. So from the beginning, when he was young, when he was much little, like 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, when he can't communicate, changes is very difficult. And when you cross that communication barrier, then you're able to explain to them, they can communicate to you their difficulties, and you can explain to them changes in the world. So that's how we dealt with changes as the time goes, as the year passed by, now that he's 9 years old. Bear in mind, when you're speaking with a child with autism at a young age, like say 3, 4, 5, speaking slowly, clearly is very, very important. It's important to make their communication very simple and clear. Even at this age that he's 9 years old, still have to keep communication very simple and clear, because then it becomes too much in their brain for them to process what you are saying. Always use your child's name when you want to talk to them so that they know you are talking to them. Try and keep them focused when talking to them, focus on you. So that's where, if you're using the picture communication, you have to show them, get them engaged when you are communicating with them. Allow them, give them some extra time when you talk to them. Give them some time to process what you've said. If you ask them a question, don't expect an answer straight away. Most of the time, they need time to process what you've said so that they can give you the response. Sometimes they'll even give you a response that doesn't even tally to what you've asked them. But always be patient and go back to what you're saying with them. That's the fun part, to be honest. One thing I always tell my son, I encourage him to to give it all his best shot whenever he's doing something in school, at his club. I don't limit him from doing anything, even though right now he's at the age where his friends, his peers can laugh at him and things. He will ask me questions. I tell him it's fine. If they laugh at you, laugh back at them. Don't let that bother you. I know sometimes it's hard, it bothers him. It's not easy for him to. So if you the parents, you don't make it easy for him, it becomes like twice hard work for the child. So I don't limit him from doing anything. I support him in anything that I see that's his interest. That's where we focus on. So I realize his interest is in numbers. He finds reading, English subjects or anything to do with reading too much for him, so he's not interested in that. Yes, I don't let him ignore that at all, but his strength is maths. We work hard on maths, so now in school he's a genius in maths. There's no maths question that you can give him that he can't answer, because we worked on his strength. Reading, now he can read any context books that you give him. Gradually, I don't put too much reading in his work. When he's doing reading, I feel like he's tired of it already. We stop and we do the ones that he likes. So I let him know that when we finish, I let him always do the hard ones first in terms of his homeworks, or if we are home in the weekends and we are just doing some learning activities. I let him do the ones I know he easily gets bored with first. And then we go on to the ones that he enjoys most, because at the end of the day, he wins. And that's very important for autistic children. You want them to feel fulfilled after what they've done. You want them to feel like they've achieved something. That way they are eager to do more. So that's how we worked on his day-to-day life and his educational life. Now he's in a mainstream school and he's thriving there in terms of reading. He can read any context book you give him. He's excellent in maths. He loves his social life, social skills. He finds it very hard. His social skills is a bit of a problem now for him, but we're working on it gradually. Hopefully he will get there as he grows. I wouldn't bore you much. If you're a mom like me, as a young mom raising a child, who is most of the time the signs comes out when they are toddler, where they like 2-3 years where they give you the terrible 2s and 3s, and you feel like you're struggling with your child doesn't understand you. Don't give up. First of all, listen to your mother instincts, your parental instincts. If you think your child needs help, go for it. If you're in a country whereby there is helps there, please go for that help. It's always better to ask for help, let the child get assessed, and then let the specialists and the professionals tell you that, oh, your child is good, your child needs this little bit help here and there, or they diagnose him the right condition that you need a right support for. So always go for your help. Speak to someone. Speak to your health professionals. Speak to your GPs, your nurses, the schools even. Talk to the professionals involved in your child's life. If you are living in a country where you don't have these things, because back home where I come from, I know everything has to be with money, and some people don't have the money, and that's why they shun away from the help. We're in the modern world, and online education is there. Please educate yourself. Go online. We will share some links, National Autism Society Directory, and links for you to learn more about autism and any other conditions that surrounds autism, like ADHD and others, so that you can learn. Join forums, social forums, local support groups online, your nearby locations, and speak to someone, because most of the time experiences, trust me, sometimes is the best compared to the professional, because the professional mostly go by the books, but experienced moms go by what they're saying, what they're going through, and then you can understand that you are not alone in this. Your child is not spoiled. Your child is not different in a bad way. Your child just is different in a way that they need extra help, so that you can get this help. Because the more you educate yourself, the more you learn about it, the easier it becomes for you as a parent. And it's easy for you as a parent, it gets easier for you, the child as well. That's my advice. I hope this message and information has helped someone out there. Just know you're not alone. There is always support out there. And also, there are a lot of great people who are autistic, a lot of great people in this world. So if you're raising an autistic child, let's believe that you are raising a great person. Thank you for listening.